Hi guys, I am Teresa and I'm with Cute Little Cupcake's mom. I have two little girls, Allison and Sophia. They're not so little anymore. But I wanted to do a video today about my Crohn's and colitis. I wanted to let you guys know exactly what happened, how I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease and what I went through, because I have talked about it in a couple of videos, but I haven't really talked about everything. And the only reason I'm doing this is because I want to help others, because it took a year and a half for me to get diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And it was hard. It was very, very hard because we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know why I was feeling the way I was feeling, losing the weight. And if this can help at least one person get diagnosed quicker than I did, then I've done my job. But a few of you have come to me and asked, through email or YouTube, how did you get diagnosed and what was your symptoms and how did you feel and, what was your journey? So that's what I'm going to share with you today. So it all started in 2007 in September. I just remember it was right after my birthday. Actually, right about now, this time, the end of September, I started having a lot of pain in my stomach area. And it was just excruciating pain. It felt like, honestly, somebody was stabbing me with a knife and just twisting it. Now, very long story short, I had a no drug at all delivery with Sophia. I gave birth to her naturally, nothing. And honestly, that's how I felt. I felt like I was in labor every single day, 24/7. Every time I put something in my mouth, whether it was water, food, it didn't matter what it was, I felt like I was in labor and it was excruciating pain. I went to the ER many times. I can't even count how many times I went to the ER. I remember my mom would call me and check up on me. How are you doing? Is everything okay? She lives an hour away, mind you. And she would drive here at 3 o'clock in the morning. I remember there was a few times she did that. She would drive here at 3 a.m. and pick me up and take me to the emergency room because she was not going to let me suffer. They would do blood tests. They would do, little scans here and there. They never really did anything huge. They would always give me shots and say, oh, well, you're having stomach spasms. A lot of times it was, sorry for my dog. A lot of times it was, oh, you have food poisoning. I wasn't throwing up. I didn't have diarrhea. It was just excruciating pain. That was it. And so it just didn't add up to me. Well, I went through this in and out of the ER for a year and a half. Yes, a year and a half. And I was seeing a gastro doctor. I was seeing my regular physician, and I was just at the point where I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I couldn't deal with it. I had lost 35 pounds in 8 weeks. Yes, that sounds amazing. That sounds awesome. But I couldn't walk. I couldn't move. I just laid there doubled over in pain. And mind you, I had a 2-year-old at home. I was a stay-at-home mom, full-time to a 2-year-old. My husband constantly worked because I no longer worked and he needed to make up for my income. Therefore, he was gone all the time working, and I was basically, and I hate to say this, but pretty much a single mom because he worked night shift, day shift, all kinds of shifts. So after I lost the 35 pounds and I went to my very last ER visit, I said, enough is enough. I need answers. I can't live like this anymore. So I went to my regular doctor and he said, you know what? I think it's probably just gastritis. We'll give you some Nexium. You'll feel better. Take these pills and you'll be fine. And I said to him, I pushed the prescription back because he gave me a little, pill bottle and said, oh, take these. I said, nope, I'm not taking any more pills. I'm not going to the ER anymore. You are going to do a test. And if you don't do a test, I'm not leaving. I will sleep here. I will do whatever it takes. I'm not leaving. I remember that day so well because he's like, okay, you know what? You want a test? I'll do a test on you. That's fine. Go get a CAT scan done. But they're not going to show anything. I'm like, great, I'll go get a test done. A week later, I scheduled my appointment, went there, They did a CAT scan with contrast and without contrast. Basically, they put an IV in you. They stick this medicine in you, and you feel like you're peeing your pants. I got to be honest with you. It feels like you're going to the bathroom. And I was sitting on the table in the machine, this little itty bitty machine, you know, you're claustrophobic. And I was like, I think I need to use the restroom. And the guy's like, no, this is perfectly normal. Don't worry about it. Just breathe in, breathe out, whatever. So I did all of that. And I'm sitting in the waiting room, and he comes to me and he goes, I'm technically not supposed to tell you this, but I want to let you know, because it was on a Friday night. He goes, I wanted to let you know you do have Crohn's disease. He goes, but do not research it online. Wait for your doctor, go to a good gastro doctor, and let him talk to you, because there's many things online that could be negative or worry you. You could die, this and that. Don't pay attention to any of that. He said, just go to your doctor, find a good one, and you'll talk to him about your plan. So I went to the gastro doctor. I actually went up in Claremont, where my mom lives, because she was off on Wednesdays, and I could take Allison up there, let her babysit, and then I could go to the doctor so I could speak to them about everything that we needed to speak about. So he did an endoscopy. I think I'm saying that wrong, but it was a tube, it was a camera down the throat just to see what was going on, and I had gastritis. I did have gastritis in my stomach. So I got on Nexium, but it was not helping. And he said, well, since you have Crohn's disease, I have a few pills that you can take. Here's this, here's that. I was probably on, 10 pills, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. I can't remember. It's been 10 years. So I got on those pills and nothing was helping. I was still losing weight. I was still not feeling good. I still could not eat. The only thing that I drank was water, and I drank Ensures. That I lived off of Ensures for a very long time. Probably, 6 months, maybe even longer. Finally, I could start eating some breads and things like that, and I started adding a little bit here and there. But salads, my mom and I would eat salads every Wednesday, and every single Thursday I would start having excruciating pain, not feeling well. I would start running a fever, and I would just be in bed for the whole weekend until Monday came and everything was out of my system. I felt much better, and I would go and eat Jell-O and water or drink water and get back on my Ensures, and I felt perfectly fine. So what ended up happening was the salads were just killing my stomach. As hard as that is to believe. And every time I try to lose weight or go on a diet, I start eating healthy. I start eating raw food, and it just kills me. But I've been doing good this time. So after about 2 years, I finally, about a year and a half to almost 2 years, they did a colonoscopy. And the colonoscopy, you take a drink, you clean your system out. That's the worst part, is drinking. The drink that you have to drink. It's like drinking pure salt water. It's disgusting. So anyways, I just wanted to add that in there so that way you guys know it does not taste good. But the colonoscopy is simple. You have the best night's sleep or morning sleep, and you just get your test done and you don't feel a thing afterwards. So I did the colonoscopy, and they said, yes, where my small intestine meets my large intestine, I do have a lot of inflammation right there, but that's all that they could see. So they wanted to do a camera pill. So what I did was I went to the gastro doctor. He put this vest on me. He put this camera around my stomach, like the whole thing around my stomach. And I had to leave that on there for 12 to 24 hours. I drank some water with this pill. It was about this big, and it had a camera inside of it. I swallowed it, and from the moment it went down, it took pictures constantly. It took millions, I don't know how many pictures, but I know thousands and thousands of pictures. And it scans you from top to bottom. And then you just naturally have a bowel movement, and it comes out and it goes down the toilet. You don't save it or anything. But then you take this belt and this vest in, and they get the pictures off of it. And what had come back was from here all the way to my large intestine, I had inflammation. And that's basically what Crohn's disease is, inflammation of the intestines. Colitis is inflammation of your large intestine. So you have your small intestine, which is Crohn's, and your large intestines, which is colitis. I did not have any colitis at the time. So after I got on this medicine, I got on several medicines. It wasn't working. He put me on a huge dose of not antibiotics. I did get on antibiotics because I had inflammation and I had an infection in my intestines because it was not healing, because I was not getting the proper treatment, because the pills were not working. So he put me on a steroid, prednisone. It made me gain all my weight back. You get that big fat face. It made me feel horrible, but I felt good as far as the pain goes. I no longer had pain, but my heart would race. I would sweat at night. I would sweat during the day. If you've ever been on that pill, it's a great thing and it makes you feel good and it makes you have energy, but it makes some people not feel so good. And I didn't feel good as far as like my heart was racing and things like that, but the pain was gone. So I felt amazing. I did that for about 6 months. I did get the moon-shaped face and the fat face and everything. Like I said, I think I gained actually more weight back because it does make you hungry. It makes you very hungry, almost uncontrollable hunger. So after all of that, I was still getting real bad pain and things. So I decided to switch my doctors. This doctor was not working with me. He was not helping me. He just wanted to keep putting me on different pills. Nothing was working. So my husband's friend at work also has colitis. He does not have Crohn's. He has colitis. And he's like, oh, there's this doctor. He's awesome. I've been going to him for years. You need to go to him. So I did. I went to this doctor, and he is amazing. As soon as I walked into that room, he wanted to do all these tests on me and wanted to make sure everything was good. He redid the CAT scan. It did show. He did the blood work. Everything showed that I had the Crohn's. He looked at all the pictures that, the camera pill took of me, and he said, you have moderate to severe Crohn's disease. You need to be on something else, either a shot of Humira or we have this Remicade. So then he finally put me on Remicade. I was on it, I would say, every 2 weeks for the first 6 weeks, I believe. And then I went to every 8 weeks. And that was pretty normal for me, every 8 weeks for the first, I would say 5 or 6 years. I did have Sophia 2 years after. Bringing you back, when I first started having these problems, I wanted to get pregnant because Allison was 2. I wanted to have another child by the time she was 3, but they would not allow me because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. So they didn't want me to go and have a child and, have a pregnancy and it mess up and whatever. So finally, after 5 years, Allison was 5, I had it under control and I had a baby. Everything was perfectly fine as far as me being on Remicade and having the baby. They also did studies of breastfeeding mothers. So I did breastfeed Sophia on this medicine and everything was fine. She's perfect. She's actually healthier than Allison was, which is shocking. But anyways, I would say about a year and a half after she was born, I just started having massive, diarrhea, horrible pain again. It was just excruciating. I went to the emergency room because I could not even hold water down. I would drink water and it would run right through me. Sorry TMI, but I'm just trying to help you guys understand what I was going through, just in case, you need to know. I was in the hospital for a whole week. 7 days. It was miserable. I missed my family. I missed my kids. My husband had to rearrange his whole schedule. My father had to babysit. My mother had to babysit. We just they all just helped me out. And I was in there for a week. I was on a very strict liquid-only diet for 3 days. And then they slowly introduced food to me, very soft foods. It was like baby food. And then I'd eventually go to thicker foods. I was on an antibiotic and also a prednisone for a very long time, for probably about 2 months. And then I ended up getting off of that, and I was perfectly fine. Continued with the Remicade, never stopped the Remicade. And then I would say about a year later, it was Allison's first camping trip for Girl Scouts. And I was so excited because I got to go with her. We were all packed, ready to go that Friday night. I started having horrible pain. I couldn't stand up, I couldn't walk, I couldn't move. I was just crying, doubled over in pain. I didn't know what to do. So Jason took me to the emergency room, and I ended up having another flare-up. They're called flare-ups when you have the problems and issues coming back. And after the flare-up, I was in the hospital for 3 days. Yes, because it was her whole camping trip. I was in the hospital. I was so sad, but there's nothing I could do about it. And thank goodness it was the weekend. Jason could take care of the kids, and it was no big deal. And then after that, I have not been in the hospital, thankfully. The Remicade has been working. I did notice about 2 years after that last hospital visit, my arms and hands started hurting real bad. My back, every time I would sit down and go to stand up, it would just completely go stiff. I still have that problem sometimes, and so I spoke to my doctor about it. And I also have in my eyes, sometimes they go blurry. I go in and out of vision. And he said that it is the Crohn's disease. Basically what happens is arthritis Crohn's. It's where the Crohn's disease is outside of your intestine. So therefore you have all the way from your eyes down inflammation. And sometimes that can happen with your hands. You get inflammation. It's not arthritis. It's Crohn's arthritis is what he called it. So that's pretty much where I'm at now. I did change. I was going every 8 weeks to get my infusions. Now I'm going every 6 weeks because at my 7-week mark, I started feeling the pain. I started getting the arthritis in my hands and my back to where I couldn't hardly stand up because it hurt so bad. Sorry about my dog. And, so he did put me at every 6 weeks. So now I'm at every 6 weeks. I feel great. There are times like a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I was stressed out due to the hurricane and everything that was going on. We stayed with my mom for a week and I started having flare symptoms. I started having real bad pain and nausea. But I ended up getting my Remicade actually 3 days ago. So everything's good. So I don't know if you guys have any questions or anything that you want to ask. I think I pretty much covered everything. Everybody is different. That just because you have pain doesn't mean you have Crohn's disease. Just because you have diarrhea doesn't mean you have Crohn's disease. There's many things that can be wrong with you. You need to go to a doctor. Don't just assume this is what you have. But for you Crohn's and colitis patients out there, I would love to hear your story. Comment down below how you got diagnosed and what you went through. I'd love to hear your story if you'd like to share it. I just had one lady on my YouTube page write in and say that her son was getting tested for Crohn's disease. And my heart goes out to you. I hope and pray that he doesn't have it. There's been a couple of kids on here. One girl's 14 years old. I don't want to name any names, but she just said that she was diagnosed with it. And I feel so bad for these kids that have Crohn's disease and colitis. I mean, it's bad enough when you're an adult, but you're an adult and you understand it a little bit more. But when you're a child, it's just horrible. I hope and I pray that my kids do not get it, but it is hereditary and it can happen. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But the funny thing is as a mom, every time my daughter says, I don't feel good, my stomach hurts, oh my gosh, I have so much pain, or I feel nauseous today, instantly my mom brain's like, oh my God, she has Crohn's disease. So that's just something that I have to deal with. I always think that. And so, you know, the only thing you could do is just continue to be persistent. Talk to a doctor. If a doctor doesn't help you, go to another doctor, because I'm telling you, there's something wrong. You know your body, you know what's wrong with you, and that's how I felt. I'm like, I know there's something wrong. I know there's something more than just, you know, stomach spasms or whatever they wanted to diagnose me with that day. And I was persistent. I was not leaving until I got an answer, and I did get an answer. And now I'm feeling so much better. Remicade helps you to live your life the way you want to live it. You can live a normal life having Crohn's and colitis. Remicade is not for everybody. This is not a sponsored video, but this is what works for me, and this is what helps me. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'm sorry if it was too long for you. Like I said, leave your comments down below. I'd love to know if you have Crohn's or colitis, or a family member has it, and how, you know, that got brought about, and hear your story. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe.